Hickok 45 here, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the fall hills and trees of Tennessee. Yes, the home of Davy Crockett. And Davy Crockett carried one of these. It's also the home of many other interesting people, fans of Paul Harrell. A lot of them here, right? Fans of James Yeager and Jeff Quinn. Man, we've lost a lot of good folks around the country that presented us a lot of good information about firearms and other things as well, right? So, and there's others. Mention them. There are people that I'm not aware of. I saw after Paul Harrell died a couple of comments of people that had also passed that I was not really familiar with, which doesn't mean anything. I'm not familiar with a lot of things. I'm totally unfamiliar with a lot of things. I'm really ignorant about a lot of things, yeah, and I'm quite aware of that. So we all get in our own little tunnels in a lot of ways, and many of you get around more than I do probably. I don't know. I mean, I've been a gun nut most of my life, and I probably, well, I focus more on what we're doing, of course, and questions from you all and things I can address and everything. And I just don't get out much. I don't get out of the house much, off the Hickok 45 reservation as much, as I used to. I used to be prowl around all the gun forums, as I've told you, and I would comment here and there, Glock Talk and others, and was learning things and interested in things, and hopefully even provided some information or my experience. I was just way more active, and I still get out and see some other gun videos, of course, from a lot of folks, and I have a few favorites and people I run across I don't know at all, and they make good videos, at least the one I see. If it's a firearm I'm kind of thinking about buying or just want to know a little bit, I'll run across something like that and wow, who is this guy or gal? It's usually a guy, and they're pretty smart, man. A lot smarter than I am. So I don't know. I'm like everybody else. I know what I like and maybe what I don't like, and I can't even put it into words. I brought coffee today. It's a little bit chilly. I was just in the mood for a cup, and there are certain. I shouldn't get into that. There's enough negativity around. I don't need to add to negativity, but I mean everybody has preferences. I like people that are kind of realistic, honest, genuine about whatever they're talking about. I watch lots of people, HR Funk or Tim, Military Arms Channel, Such, just whoever it is. I know, I've met all those people, and there are others, Paul Harrell, of course, and here I go, starting to mention people. 10 Outdoors 9, got to get him doing more videos, right? I know him and have known him for a long time. Just people that present information. They're not trying to hoodwink us or anything like that, put anything over on us, and of course, Jeff Quinn was good. Here I go. A lot of good folks out there, let's put it that way. And I shouldn't even start bringing up names. But there are people I don't care for because there is a genre. I mean, I don't not like somebody or something, don't even know them. But there's a kind of a genre of people doing videos, gun videos and others. And I don't know, I'm just an old guy, and it seems to me that they spend way too much time trying to be cool. If they've got other people in the video with them, it's like 90% just being cool and clever and yucking it up and inside jokes, and they go on and on and on and on with that, and they're fast talking and is young. I'm just an old guy. Just chalk it up to that, I guess. But everybody knows what they like, what they don't like, and there's a lot of people that just don't like me at all. I talk too much. By the way, this is a Sunday shoot around. I do talk too much on Sundays. Okay, what was I shooting here? And I don't know. Well, it's a new innovative firearm. You probably haven't seen one of these. It's called an AR-15. As far as this cartridge, it's a 5.56 or 2.23. Not many people are familiar with it, really. And this one's made by a company hardly anybody's familiar with, Smith & Wesson. How was that for funny? It is the new, I told you I'd bring it out, didn't I? The Sport III, the M&P Sport, yeah, M&P, what's this thing called? The M&P Sport III. And guess what? This is the third in the series. Yeah, a little bit of clue there, isn't it? I own the Sport II, and I have fired the first one. I don't know if they called it the Sport 1, but I fired it, and then the Sport 2. I think it was just called the Sport, the first one, and then Sport 2, now Sport 3. You know, with a free-floating handguard and everything, a mid-length gas system, and gosh, did I mention that in the video? I might not. Yeah, I get going with the video. We did a video on it. I'm ready to send it back. I may not have mentioned. If I didn't, I'll mention it now. Yeah, it has a mid-length gas system, which is a little milder in recoil impulse and that kind of thing generally than the carbine length and everything. But it's got the cheap stock and everything and grips. It's how they can sell it for so cheap. But it seems fine. I put the primary arms on my prism scopes on it. I'll take it off and ship it back. It doesn't come with sights at all, yeah, which is kind of typical these days. So yeah, I told you I'd bring it out. Yeah, almost didn't. I was thinking about something else and a couple of things, and I saw a comment. Someone said, some of you watched too closely, asked if I was going to bring out my Model 29 this month, since it's the 50th birthday. And they remembered, or they had just watched maybe the video. That's the thing about YouTube. They might have watched the video like just before that, you know. And whatever, the video of the 50th anniversary, or one of the other anniversaries of it, I did it at 40 years. And I talk about October's and when I bought it, which is where we are right now, right? So we've done the 50th year anniversary of the my Model 29 since I bought it. If anybody's new out here, I bought this in 1974, October. Yeah, gun show, Nashville Fairgrounds, that don't exist now. They don't exist. It's a soccer stadium or something, but yeah, so it was in October, and about the middle of October. So this is when I bought it, and so it's really exactly 50 years now. So I thought, yeah, I should do that. So I got it out along with the M&P, and I fired a few rounds. So, you know, and I hope you caught the pumpkin work this week, and the pumpkin kills we did. Actually, I guess it was last week, a week or so ago. And then the pumpkin carving we posted more recently. It's always fun to do, and hope you see it. I think I even put it on Facebook, uploaded it to Facebook, which I don't always do. Usually just get it short enough, but usually I load or link to things on Facebook. And as usual, I've had a couple just this week, other big YouTubers, you know, asked me about if we were being shadow banned or suppressed, or you know, whatever on views. Too, they said, are you getting shadow banned too, or whatever? And it really does seem like, for sure, that that's becoming more and more of an issue. It really is. You know, and I don't know anything for sure, but you can just tell. And you know, it would be difficult to knock gun videos off of a platform, right? Because I mean, there's so many of them. Where do you draw the line? Who doesn't? And be very difficult, cause a lot of backlash. But there are other things that can be done through a computer or an algorithm, right? You can just make sure fewer people see them, you know. So it's a weird thing. But anyway, you know the address, Hickok 45, yeah, YouTube. youtube.com/hickok45. So if you want to see a video, but anyway, the pumpkin carving videos are up there. And again, carving a pumpkin, putting a face on it, it's always fun. And as I say, I think every year, it's a little harder than it looks because I'm close, but it's also, by the same token, not as easy as it might look too. It's just one of those weird things. Try it if you haven't done that. Just try it with a piece of paper. But now keep in mind, you cannot miss. It's not like just plinking around. You know, I can plink at the steel. I could plink at the cowboy right here, you know, shooting over my shoulder or whatever, and I might miss him totally once. If I hit him the other 5 shots with this revolver, you'd be, yeah, impressed. Wow, hardly. Well, that miss is just sort of out of mind, you know, because you see the hits. But on a pumpkin, if you get over just a little bit, you know, my finger, just a little bit, miss just by a hair, and it's off. It's like, oh, I mean, it's ruined. You can't hide it. You just got one chance to do that eye and this eye, and you can, and then in the nose and mouth, of course. But and what happens is you need to try it. You don't know what the bullets are going to do, and the pumpkins are going to do. As you know, every year I think there have been years where like 1 round each eye and nose was okay, you know, so you let it go. But usually I need to follow up with another round or 2 in that eye to make it a little bigger or whatever. And that's where you get into trouble, because you just, you make it worse, you know, or whatever it is. Then you try to fix it with another bullet. So they're not off too much, but they're off just enough that, I don't know, can I fix that, make it bigger, round it out, or whatever you're trying to do. But it's not all that hard, but it's tricky. There's no, very, very little margin of error. That's what makes it harder, okay? So, but that's fun. Hope you caught that. And the other thing about that, boy, I shouldn't say this out loud. I don't remember the last time that we had to like redo it. Every year we get ready to do it, figure out what gun I want to use and all that kind of thing. Okay, pick out a great jack-o'-lantern. I always buy 2 nice big ones at least, because I just assume, because the day we're going to do it, we need to do it. It's October, it's middle of October, it's whenever it is. And we're ready to do it and post it pretty soon, because you can't even get pumpkins in September necessarily, you know. So it's one of those deals where I get the pumpkins, pick out 2 or 3, usually 2 at least, just really nice jack-o'-lanterns. Then we use the one that's left over, if it is, for, you know, decoration or something, and we're blowing up another day. And so I'm ready to do 2, you know, and seemed like one year we did have trouble and had to do about 3 different ones, but one of them was because it blew it off the stand and fell off and broke and some weird thing. Wow, it took $100 worth of pumpkins to get that one. But virtually every year it's the first one. Yeah, it is. It's not because I'm that good, but I am so focused, and I realize there is no margin of error on that. And as long as the gun works right, and the pumpkin doesn't roll off or something, and you know, it usually works out on the first one. And so, all right, that's good. So that's fun. Try it. Really try it. Get you a pumpkin. If you have a range, outdoor range, or someplace you can go shoot, and just do it. Just sit, again, you know, like I do, within whatever 3 yards or something. And you notice I never mark the pumpkin. I don't ever put markings on it. I'm not sure that would help at that range. It might just throw you off. But yeah, just try that. It's fun. Speaking of shooting, let's shoot this baby. In big bore guns, I should have a single action to discuss this. I was watching the Rifleman, though. It's fresh in my mind. 44, yeah. Oh, by the way, let me thank the people that helped us. Speaking of Amber, Bud's Gun Shop. Great support of the channel. We appreciate their help. And Silencer Central, wonderful outfit. You've seen all the Banish line here, and the Sonoran Desert Institute. All kinds of learning you can get there from a distance and become very, very knowledgeable about firearms and drone technology, all kinds of things, okay? And Alabama Holster, appreciate their help. Got a couple of them on me. You will love them, and I've had some of you tell me that. Once you buy one of those, or two of those, or five of those, you will use them. Good fit, small, minimalist, and everything. Yeah, I was watching The Rifleman, and it's not on the Westerns channel. It hadn't been, but I got to browse around somewhere. I ran across the, what's it, Me TV channel, and oh, there's Gunsmoke and Rifleman and all those shows. I never go there. Oh, the commercials. It's like 5 minutes of commercial, 1 minute of whatever the show is. Even if you record it and fast forward through it, it's painful. It's almost unwatchable, just like all the news programs are now. But anyway, wait a minute, was it The Rifleman? No, it was. Yeah, I did watch The Rifleman. No, I know why I got confused, because I suffer from dementia. Here's why I got confused. You'll understand. That's why I said The Rifleman. It was in, yeah, I don't want to be confusing here now. I know a lot of you watch these great Westerns. It was in Tales of Wells Fargo, and Chuck Connors was in that. It was pretty neat. I looked up the date on it. It was 57, I think. So Chuck Connors played kind of a bad guy, clever bad guy, in this episode of Tales of Wells Fargo. So this predates the Rifleman series. Pretty neat. I always enjoy that, seeing some famous actor back when he's just doing kind of a spot role in something, but I mean, he was a key character in that episode. So he had a weird hat on. He's wearing a sidearm. I guess he was left-handed. I never have been able to figure that out exactly from the Rifleman episodes, because he seems to be able. He's practiced that swinging the rifle around with both arms to the point where, in fact, maybe he does it most often with the left hand. I don't know. And I've always really been impressed with that. But I'm pretty sure I've seen him do it with his right hand. And now I'm thinking, when he did it with his left hand, if you go, wow, he really is ambidextrous. He's even able to do it with both arms. But anyway, he was wearing a gun, 6-gun, on his left side. And he actually drew it a couple of times. So I guess he was left-handed. Don't know. But he was in that episode. And, of course, Dale Robertson, the star of that show. And what was it? Yeah, they were sitting around the campfire talking about Jim Hardy, is his name in the show, about his 45, his Colt, and how he just loads 5. He was loading it, and he said, I just load 5 in this, or something like that. What did he say? Did I write that? Yeah. Chuck Connor said, he was looking at his gun, I think. He said, "You just got 5 in your gun, Jim." And Jim Hardy replies, "Yeah, it's got a hair trigger, so I keep an empty chamber under the hammer." And I thought, as you can imagine, you're ahead of me. Gotcha! Another mistake about guns. Imagine that in TV, And in that one, you wouldn't have expected it, because you got Chuck Connors there. You got Dale Robertson is his name. And do you know why that was not? You know why that doesn't make sense? This is a test. If you've been around and know anything about single actions, Colt single actions or clones, or for that matter, even as a Ruger, it wouldn't matter what it is. And if I told you I just load 5 because this firearm has such a hair trigger, I keep an empty chamber under the hammer, that would sound logical, wouldn't it? That would sound very logical. Well, again, I shouldn't have discussed this without one with me, I guess, but with a Colt single action, let's say this is it, and it has an empty chamber under the hammer, all right? So, like you do with a Colt, with an old-fashioned gun. So if you drop it, something hits the hammer, the stirrup, whatever, it's not going to go off. It's not resting against a primer or a round. Okay, so I got a hair trigger. Whoa, that makes it safer. Well, it doesn't matter what kind of trigger this firearm has on it. If there's nothing, well, how shall I say that? Here's the point. It doesn't help not to have a round under the hammer, I guess is what I'm getting at. That doesn't help. That doesn't help if you have a hair trigger. That doesn't make it safer, but it's not related to the hair trigger, at least. It might make the gun safer. Okay, because when I cock it, I got to cock it to fire it, right? This time I'm talking Jim Hardy's gun. It's got a hair trigger, so he's got an empty chamber under that hammer. Okay, well, the trigger's irrelevant unless I cock the gun, right? Trigger won't even pull. It's like nothing unless I cock the hammer. So I cock the hammer, what happens? I no longer have an empty chamber under the hammer, but I still have the hair trigger. I have the hair trigger now with a round under the chamber. So anyway, it made no sense. Sorry, Dale Robertson. Hate to give you a hard time. I met him at a gun show once. He says he used to watch videos while they were recording that show. In fact, he would go back to his trailer and watch Hickok 45 videos between scenes. How's that for a funny one? Yeah, really funny. When did YouTube come around? 2006? Yeah. Yep. I believe he was long gone by then. Okay. Well, let's shoot this thing, not just talk about it. Okay. Did I bring some ammo? Yeah, I was digging some out. Got some Fiocchi and some Steinel. This is some Steinel. Let's fire a couple of these. All right, since it's October, I've got to do that. It's exactly down to possibly the day. I don't think I finally lost the receipt of that, and I don't remember the exact day. I do know it was October. I don't think I have the exact day on that. And it was back where you bought it, you had to a waiting period. Unlike today, it's hard to imagine that now. I had to buy it, pay for it, and then wait for the paper to go through 3 or 4 days, and then pick it up. Yeah, so go back to Nashville to Carter Hardware and pick it up. All right. Let's just celebrate some more. Yeah, 44 Magnum. What about it, cowboys? Speaking of cowboys. Yeah, speaking of big feet. Yeah, speaking of gongs. Speaking of missing gongs. A little too high the first time. Speaking of propane tanks. Oh, what I think I got that plate on the edge. Yeah. All right, there's got some juice behind them. Oh man, speaking of propane tanks, how many of you wrestle with these gasoline cans, these plastic gasoline cans, and supposedly safety spouts and valves, and I've wrestled with some of those for so many years, trying to put diesel fuel in the tractor, whatever I'm doing. You gotta, you push them against something and they open up, usually, until they don't, and then the caps don't stay on them, or they don't have caps. Just so annoying, so annoying. The containers get warm or whatever and start sucking in together and all that. The other day I was messing with the tractor. I think it was diesel fuel, not the last time it happened, and then I had a gas can that wasn't a lot better, and I went right to it because I've got one nice gas can, metal, and I went right to the internet, started doing some research, because I am done. I am totally done with these plastic gas cans and these crazy valves and all the system they have. And there's always a new one. Every time you buy a new can, new plastic can, or even a metal one, a lot of them have it. There's some new innovation that doesn't work very well. It's probably supposed to be safer. And you can about imagine in today's world with our government, how many people are sitting around a conference table somewhere. How can we make these valves safer? We heard one person in Oregon or Florida burned his foot because of this. So let's totally redesign this again. Never mind, he was smoking while he's pouring gas and he has an IQ of 30 or something. But anyway, I just vowed, I don't care what it costs. I'm going to metal all the way. And and I bought, I had one, but I bought like 3 or 4 new Just Right Type 2 gas cans. Those of you who know gas cans or diesel cans, fuel cans, you can appreciate those are nice cans, right? I had one of them. I don't know where I got it and when I picked it up, but I've had it for a long, long time. And it's the one that I can count on. And I thought, boy, it'd be nice to have that, have a couple more of those and have some diesel. I don't even know where I bought the thing, and have some for diesel fuel as well. That seems to be where I had the biggest problem almost. And anyway, they all came in, and I'm a happy camper. I know normally I'd be all excited because I got a new python or anaconda or something. You know, you're talking about a real redneck, you know, when he gets excited about his new gas cans, right? Oh well, that's the way it goes. Let's see, since we're celebrating, again, we're not sponsored by the gas can industry. That'd be fine. I love having sponsors that don't have anything to do with firearms. You know, that's fine. We had a bullion dealer, you know, for a while, and everything else. That's fine. But it was the ones that I got. They're Just Right is the brand name, and they're the Type 2. The Type 1 doesn't have the metal spout, or anything. It doesn't really have a spout. They're really nice, they're high quality, but just kind of push it and pour it out. What are we doing? Then these have a metal spout, and they got I forget what they call it, but where you pour the gas in has nothing to do with where it comes out. You got 2 openings and all that kind of thing, and they work really well. So there you go. If you're living in an apartment in Manhattan, it's not all that informative for you, right? I just had 5 of those 44 specials. So let's load it like a single action. I put the empty under the chamber so it's safe, or under the hammer. All right, 44 special. You know, I always like to hit Clyde with these. Yeah, boy, talk about comfortable. Do I have another one? Yeah. Yeah, that is neat. If you have a 44 Magnum, what would be another example? 357. You know, I get you some 44 special. If it's just one box, I know they're expensive, and then of course 38 special for your 357. And even if you have a big old long one like this, or a big heavy anaconda or something, it is just fun to shoot 44 special out of it. It really is. And you know, it just is. And if you know anybody else that's just getting into shooting, or younger or weaker, whatever, recoil sensitive, you know, they would enjoy that probably. In fact, it might seem like a lot of recoil to them, you know, if they're used to shooting 22. And you owe it to yourself to have some of those around. You owe it to your family or your friends or whatever, who it doesn't really want to shoot a 44 Magnum necessarily. After all, shooting it shouldn't be a macho endeavor. You know, it's not a macho endeavor. As I've said, you know, many times, it's just fun to do. It should be fun, and you don't have to be recoil sensitive to enjoy lighter loads. At some point, I think most shooters, I talk to a lot of people who've been shooting for decades, and they kind of drift away from that Magnum stuff. They just do. Sometimes it's because they just get old and it bothers them or whatever, or don't handle it as well. But in a lot of cases it's not. We've really Magnumized everything. Same with hunting rounds. Lots of times I've heard, I don't hunt really, but I've read articles from people, you know, there's a lot of great Magnum cartridges, and whether it's 300 Win Mag, all these different Magnums. But you take a 30-06 or any standard round, there's a lot of different loads available, and you can just take about anything you want to or need to, maybe other than, you could even take big dangerous game, but not necessarily the best choice, right? But anyway, nothing has to be macho about it. It's fun. Now it's also fun to sometimes to just shoot some atomic round for kicks, but yeah, kicks, no pun intended. But yeah, get you some 44 special sometime. You'll enjoy it. Let's shoot this AR again. Now it has done fine. It has done fine. We've not had any malfunctions or anything. We've done a couple of different videos with it, and yep, it's done fine. In fact, we did a comparison, kind of. You'll see popping out. Finally got around. Y'all get the early information. Our series, like, what's that one? $500 1911 versus $1,200 1911, whatever it is. We've done that with several different firearm types, and they've been meaning to do it with the ARs. Now, I've been very reluctant to do it, as I say in the video. There's so many people who know way more about the AR-15, and you really bring out the AR experts or wannabe experts and everybody else anytime you say something about an AR-15 or make a claim about which one's better, which barrel is better. I mean, you name it. So you're destined to step in it anytime you're comparing AR-15s, and they're hard to compare anyway. They all work, they all work fine. So it does come down to longevity, maybe accuracy to some extent, but for most people's purpose, almost any of them will do. And but anyway, I lost you into that. We compared it. One thing it made me think of is, I've got my prism scope on here exactly like the prism scope I keep on my Daniel Defense M4 V7, and with a quick glance, they look alike. They really do. Similar hand guards and all that, except for the grip and the cheap grip and stock on this one. And you got the same sights, and I said, yeah, we ought to do a comparison. Yeah, we'll just do that. And it's not really a Daniel Defense Smith & Wesson comparison. I mean to just be comparing a low-end AR-15 with the higher-end AR-15s and what you get for your extra money. That's mainly the theme there. What are some things that you get on a Daniel Defense or an LWRC or Noveske, any of those more expensive ones? What is the difference? Is there a difference? And what is it? And that's kind of the way I approach it there. Because there really is a difference. Now, what's Paul Harrell's line? There is a difference, but not enough difference to make a difference, or something like that. So for most people, it is not enough difference to make a difference. And so anyway, it was fun doing that finally after all these years. And it has performed well. And no problem with it. It's just so you'll know. Should I take a few more shots with it? Let's do that. Since it's not very loud. Yeah, my foot. About a 2-liter right here. Oh, tried to attack me. Do a little bowling. Nice. A little trouble with it, prism reticle. Look. I don't know. Okay, hold a little bit high, I guess. Got the buffalo there. I mean, it's possible to even miss the gong. I don't know. I've got 3 or 4 of those prism scopes. The reticle doesn't blur on me like it does with a regular red dot, but I don't know. The reticle messes with me. It's got that half moon, crescent, and then a dot. And the time I get that on the target, I'm just seeing that crescent and the dot. The crescent kind of wipes everything out for me. I can't seem to get it turned right to where it doesn't. So up close, you know, I mean, it's great. It'd be great for combat up close. But I don't know. I get out there shooting very far. I might try. I don't know if on my ARs if I have one of the, like about a 4 power. Maybe that would help some. Anyway, let's go back to metal sights, right? I'll shoot this again before I make you leave. Gosh, I didn't probably talk about much. That's good. So give you all a break. Let's see, young people evidence. Do I have any? Young people evidence. Young people information or advice. Yeah, one thing came to mind about anecdotal evidence. You know what anecdotal evidence is? If you're young, maybe you don't. It's basing, you've had people probably claim something because they heard so-and-so did it, or there's a case they know about, you know, where it happened or something. Well, that's just one story or one incident or two. That's basically called anecdotal evidence. It's just one anecdote, one story, okay? If 100 people tried that or whatever it is, it might just been one person had a problem, you know, but you're basing your conclusions on one person's or two persons' findings or something like that, anecdotal evidence. But anyway, that's the kind of thing you have to watch out for as you're growing up, right? Hearing something, especially the internet these days, social media. Oh yeah, well I heard this and that, or I saw some guy do that and it didn't work, or it worked well, or whatever. Well, that's one example. That's anecdotal. You know, actually, if we review a gun, we get one like this one. And say it didn't work right, couldn't hit anything with it or something, that would just be one gun. Maybe the rest of them are fine. You know, it's anecdotal, just one experience kind of deal. So you have to be careful about that, about putting too much weight in anecdotal evidence. Always be aware of that. Do the research. On the other hand, sometimes anecdotal evidence is what maybe we need to be looking at in order to get on the road to realizing perhaps that the conventional wisdom just isn't right necessarily. I know one thing Dr. Ken Berry talked about in his practice years ago. People were coming in and you know, he had struggled. He was overweight grossly, he says, and his overweight patients, you know, he was trying to work with them and trying to lose weight himself, and he was trying to exercise and eat less and all that kind of thing, and giving his patients this advice, and it wasn't really working for them either, the standard typical. But then he had I don't know, 2 or 3 patients, and one in particular came in and he didn't recognize him hardly. He looked like a different human. He'd lost so much weight, and well, what happened to you? What'd you do? You know, and he had I think he had read the Atkins diet book, which is low carb, you know. I'm not that familiar with that diet, but it's getting off the carbs, you know, basically. And he, you know, it was, so I think Ken Berry almost didn't believe it, you know. And anyway, then someone else, same thing, you know. But it was just anecdotal evidence, you know. And I've heard him make that comment before. Lots of things going on today are anecdotal, but there's a lot of anecdotes. There's a lot of people experiencing that, you know, just like with that. Well, some of that didn't make sense to him, but here's another person, here's another person, here's another person. They couldn't lose weight, but they're losing it. You know, it's not because of my advice or his advice. It's because whatever the Atkins, you know, low carb thing, and all this that's kind of what led him to try it himself and all that. And the rest of the story, you know, is history kind of. But anyway, sometimes anecdotal evidence is valid. It's like something we should be seeing, but still you want to really look at something that is just a small sampling, because I mean you can prove, I mean you can draw any conclusion you want from anecdotal evidence. Look at a restaurant review. You're thinking about eating at a restaurant. Well, if 2 people review that and have really negative reviews. You say, oh, I don't think we'll go there. Well, who knows? If you could poll the last 1,000 people that ate in that restaurant, there might just be 5 that had a bad experience out of 1,000. And 3 out of those 5 had some kind of grudge, or they order some weird food that that restaurant doesn't even specialize in, or maybe they don't do a great job at that, or maybe they were hard to please. Maybe they are people, those 3 or whatever, those 5, those 2 or 3, they might be people, we don't know them, they might be people who are never pleased with anything. You know people like that, right? Hard to please. They always have a problem with anything they do. They always have a story about how I went to the bank and they couldn't get my, and at the post office, they're idiots too. They couldn't get this mail, and everything they touch in their life, it's like, it's the opposite of the Midas touch. It turns to crap. There's some big deal, controversy, problem with it. It could be those sorts of people that you're actually hearing from. They're the ones who grab that phone and get that review in, man, as quick as they can. Turned on the. But anecdotal evidence. So it's hard to know whether it's. Well, you don't know whether it's valid necessarily, but it's difficult to know whether you should give it, how serious consideration you should give it, one way or the other. But anyway, just be aware of those kinds of things, because people can prove anything. There's always an incident. There's always an instance where something worked or something didn't. And also, it could lead you to live a very fearful life. I mean, somebody has gone out of the house without a jacket and died of pneumonia. Somebody has, I don't know, walking around the Grand Canyon, even the areas where there's a big rail, fallen over that rail, I'm sure, because they were so incredibly stupid or something. They were climbing on it or whatever. Well, let's raise the rails another 5 feet. Somebody fell over there and died. How tragic. Yeah, it is tragic, but 10,000 people out of 10,001 almost couldn't even get over if they wanted to. So you got to be careful about how much validity we give to like an anecdotal story. Something that happens once or twice or 3 times. So I don't know if that meant anything. Didn't mean anything to me. Just more stupid talk, right? So I'm going to shoot this before we leave, because it is the 50-year anniversary, and I'll try not to bring it out maybe any more this year. I mean, I don't know, maybe I will, but I'll try not to. Okay. 50 years. 50 years. Like I said in the first video or early on in the year, a lot of people are lucky to live 50 years. And I'm lucky that I have lived 50 years since 1974. And I've also kind of lucky that I didn't trade this thing off like I did so many cool guns. And I hung on to it just so I could, I knew that in the year 2024, I would have a cowboy. I'd be living right here, and I'd have a cowboy hanging right there, and I'd want to shoot it with it. And I'd have a Bigfoot hanging in the woods that would need 240 grains of lead. I knew I could see into the future. I knew it was coming, see? I was just a goofball living in Franklin, Tennessee. I was in an apartment. But when I bought this, I just knew I'd be right here, in these trees, firing it, talking to you all on camera, on the internet that didn't exist yet. And, I'd have a different name, Hickok 45. I knew all that. You think I didn't, yeah. So anyway, it's time to quit being foolish. And I will check with you again next week. Try not to talk so much. And I'll bring out something that's fun to shoot. and hopefully it won't be too cold next week. We'll be starting into chillier and chillier weather, even though the leaves are still pretty green. Yeah, we've had some chilly weather, so there'll be more coming, no doubt about that. So don't forget the Clips channel and the Hickok 45 Talks channel and the Hickok 45 channel. Really, lots of videos, and you really should have seen every single one of them. Yeah, you really should have. What was it? Somebody the other day left a comment, said they had, I think they said they just found our videos and were looking forward to more of them. And I said, well, you could look forward. You don't have to look far. There's about 2,700 of them. Just get started. Get that homework done, you know. But anyway, there are a lot of videos. It's one of the cool things about the Clips channel. John reminds me of a lot of them and reminds you all maybe. And, you know, and again, they're all on Rumble. I've been pretty good about that. I've not slipped up. Everyone is on Rumble, and as I post it on YouTube, I put it on Rumble, and they're live almost the same time exactly, and pretty much. And you know, Rumble's kind of weird. You can mainly I just do that with the Sunday videos where I schedule it. You know, you can set a video to go live anytime you want, and I do that on the Sunday videos in case I was to sleep late, but which I'm not likely to do. But and you can do that on Rumble. If you knew this, you can do that on Rumble too. When you upload the video and you're putting in the description and all that, it lets you schedule it. But if you don't schedule it, then if once you let it crank and it finally uploads and everything, and there it is, unlisted, but there it is, and you got all of it set and ready to go, you cannot go back. You can't edit it. You can edit some things. You can edit the thumbnail and the description, things like that. But you can't go back in unless I'm not seeing something. Help me if you can. You can't go back in and schedule it. So if I get whatever it is, I might want to. It would be easier if I could do that. If I know I'm going to make a video live on Tuesday afternoon or whatever it might be, I could go ahead and make sure, because I know I'll remember the YouTube, because I'm working with it so much, but I could go over to Rumble and just go ahead and schedule it for like 3 o'clock Tuesday afternoon or something, and then I don't have to think about that. But I can't do that unless I do it when I'm uploading it. That's kind of weird. I don't know why that would, why that limitation really exists. There's probably a reason for it. Probably technologically, you know, it's harder to do or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, enough about technology. So I'll just caress my long-time friend here as we fade away, and as you all fade away. How's that? 44 Magnum, Smith & Wesson Model 29. Doesn't get a lot better, and it's good to know some things actually last. You know, they don't wear out in a couple of years. You can enjoy them for 50 years. Pretty amazing, huh? Life is good.